You've heard the violence and Armageddon and all the dragons and demons. We're going to go beyond the mystical meaning as it was intended. You see, the book of Revelation is written to cover a beautiful love song. The book of Revelation is not about countries at war and dropping bombs. The war that it refers to is the war that goes on within you, your mind, the thoughts of your mind. And you're going to find how to get in control of yourself. You're going to find how your body works. The book of Revelation is a book about the human body and the human mind. It has nothing to do with outside things. It's mystical. It's spiritual. And it's written in such a way as to hide it from those who would interpret it literally. Those who do not meditate will never be able to understand the book of Revelation. And of course, as you know, in all the years that you've been studying religion, the book of Revelation has revealed nothing to anybody. And the way that you can really tell that it hasn't revealed anything to anybody is because the ones who come on television and interpret it talk about a God who's going to destroy the world with bombs. And Jesus is going to come back in a hail of bullets and all of this nonsense. When those are symbols of really the Christ consciousness within you that rains down fire or spirit power to destroy the earth or destroy those things which are trying to destroy you, the thoughts of the human mind. Get yourself, if you have a King James Bible, if you don't have it, get one so that we can continue with you in the future. But get yourself a notepad and some paper, okay? Because I think you're going to find this so interesting. You're going to want to follow along with us. And I think you're going to, for the first time in your life, understand the book of Revelation as the only way it could be. A love message from God to you, which has been totally missed by Christianity. Okay? We're going to start right at chapter 1, the revelation of Jesus Christ to St. John. And that's the first thing you want to try to understand. This revelation is from Christ. In other words, it's a book of statements from that which is Jesus Christ, the Christ consciousness, talking to that which is within you, describing, letting you in on the truth, the real secrets of life and what life is about. So if you're ready to start, and you'll turn yourself to chapter 1 of the book of Revelation, let us get going on an adventure that you're going to just love and be thrilled about. The book of Revelation is going to come alive to you, but interpreted through the mysticism of the East as it was written. Are you ready to go? All right, let's go to chapter 1, the revelation of Jesus Christ. And this is chapter 1, verse 1, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. Now remember, this is written 2,000 years ago. Things which must shortly come to pass. Christianity saying they still haven't come to pass. They have, and I'll show you how. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John, who bare record of the word of God and of the testimony of Jesus Christ and of all things that he saw. Blessed is he that reads and they that hear the words of this prophecy and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Now isn't that something? Right away, in the first 3 verses of the book of Revelation, you see something. The time is at hand. That's written 2,000 years ago. And the religionists and Bible teachers today who interpret it literally are still saying the time is at hand, or the time is coming, or it hasn't come yet. Remember, it was at hand 2,000 years ago. Now, that's, I think, the most important statement in those 3 verses. The time is at hand, and that refers to the eternal now. Okay? This isn't a prophecy of something that happens in the future. It's saying to you that if you'll get into this book mystically, begin to understand the deep, holy, secret place within you, then the time is at hand for you to be the beneficiary of this revelation. Okay? Now, in verse 3 it says, blessed is he that reads and keeps the words of this prophecy. The word prophecy, as used by the ancients of the East, did not always mean future. It meant any writing. It could mean a sermon, it could mean a lecture, it could mean a poem, it could mean a song, as well as a statement of the future. So try to keep that in mind. We've got to start to understand words as the Eastern people used them 2,000 years ago in a different context than we understand them. And in saying the time is at hand, as it says in verse 3, we realize that any individual, and that means right here in 1989, any person who qualifies by following the deeper, higher path into the mysteries, which is the higher mind, the right hemisphere of the brain, the higher consciousness. Any person may experience the light of this revelation or the light of this unveiling. See? Because when you begin to follow and obey what Jesus Christ said, seek the kingdom within, raise your consciousness, dwell in the right hemisphere of the mind through meditation, then it says the time is at hand. See? You can't go as a mob. You can't go as a group. You can't follow a whole gang or a church or a denomination. This is yours. This is for you. And you can, right where you're sitting, this can come alive to you as it will when you follow with me over the weeks as we do the book of Revelation. Okay? So, let's take a little deeper reflection as we look at this and understand that these are Jesus' words. Jesus, having risen above the lower consciousness, the lower physical nature through crucifixion, is instructed in the highest of the higher consciousness, having conquered the lower nature. See? Now, if you look here in verse 1, it says, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants. His servants. And what's that saying is that our carnal mind, that thing in here, which accuses you, that thing which puts you into depression, that carnal mind which puts you into fear and into hate and separates you into denominations from other people all over the world, that thing must become the servant of the Christ nature and follow instructions from a higher frequency, from a higher consciousness, from a higher nature. See? If you're going to arrive at the higher realm, then that lower thing has got to get into the habit of being obedient, and as you go up into the higher realm in meditation, you will bring down instructions from the upper room, from Mount Zion, that will be fed into the lower realm to a point where the human mind, which is actually controlling you, will now be a servant of you. It will be a servant of the Christ who dwells within you. Do you understand this? In other words, what that's saying is that the messages which will come through meditation, through the higher consciousness, will come down into your psyche and then filter into your lower mind, and then your lower mind will begin to act out the love, act out the healing, act out the compassion, act out the forgiveness of the instructions that come down from the higher mind. That is coming from Christ consciousness, which is located in the right hemisphere of the brain. And so what it's saying here is that as we get into this, then, the carnal mind, the earthy mind, will turn into be a servant rather than directing you into all the chaos it has. And this is the very first step, enlightenment and bringing you into a realization of what's going to happen here. This is a really exciting time for you. Okay? The incarnation, in other words, the Christ consciousness of the servant, must be done quickly. Okay? And that's what it says here. It says, to show unto his servants, Revelation 1:1, things which must shortly come to pass. You see? It must be done quickly, shortly. And don't confuse this with earth time. What we're talking about here, as you go into meditation, you'll find that there will be a period of time as you see the chakras come to life and as the kundalini makes its way and all of this business, which I'll explain to you as we go along in the book of Revelation, because this is something you can do right now. You can just forget about, I'm talking, this whole revelation is the words of Jesus Christ, and I'm going to explain them to you as given through Eastern mysticism, through meditation, exactly what Jesus said to do. If your eye be single, your body will fill with light, seek first the kingdom. All of these things which come through meditation, you will have, and you will be able to manifest without any cost to you whatsoever. It won't cost you a dime, without going anywhere, getting big bus trips to crusades or anything like that. When you're lying in your hospital bed or whatever, or on your deathbed, I hope that's a long time from now, you're all by yourself, folks. You're not with a denomination. You're not in a crusade. This is a one-on-one situation. And your whole consciousness now must be renewed and come to life one-on-one. Okay? Let me read verse 3 again, chapter 1 of the book of Revelation. Blessed is he that reads, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Okay? That means that here now, when it says here, get into meditation yourself. Begin to understand. It's a dedication on your part to penetrate the mystical meanings of this book. Okay? For these aren't mere words. These are what are called esoteric thoughts from the divine. Esoteric. You might want to write that word. E-S-O-T-E-R-I-C. Esoteric means that which is within. Exoteric means that which is without. And here is where we are going to try to understand things above the mind, and you will be able to. You'll be able to understand not the letter, but the spirit. Remember the Apostle Paul said, "Be not a minister of the letter, for the letter kills," and it sure does. "But be a minister of the Spirit, for the Spirit gives life," and it sure does. Now, one of the interesting things as we started this, I was talking to a fellow the other day, and he said, "But I understand a lot of what you're saying, but you have to understand," he said, "you've got to obey the commandments. You've got to love your neighbor." See, he started giving me the law of God. Love your neighbor and do good and do all of these things. But he forgets one very important thing, and this is what Christianity has totally forgotten. If you look in the Bible to the book of Romans, and go to Romans chapter 8, Romans chapter 8, and verse 7, what does it say? It says, "The carnal mind is enmity against God. It is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can it be." That's what Christianity misses. That's what your pastor never told you. That's what your church hasn't told you. Your human mind cannot be subject to the law of God. It cannot obey the law of God. And you know that. You can get just as holy as you want in a crusade or in a church or wherever and come out and your mind is on fire with all kinds of stuff that, is just damaging to you, accusations against other people, stress and anger that just manifests all by itself. And that's why meditation is so necessary. That's why Jesus said, "If your eye be single." That's why he said, "Take no thought." That's why you must receive your instruction from the higher divine mind, not the lower carnal mind, okay? That instruction that comes from the higher divine mind is above the carnal mind, which can obey the law of God. See? Let me just interrupt for a minute. I need, obviously, we have a higher rate to pay in this program and so forth, and I don't like to dwell on that, and I very seldom do. What we do in order to pay for this show and to keep it on is people will call in and say, send me the monthly envelope, and each month we send them an envelope. They put whatever they can in and send it in, and we all kind of get together, and it so far pays for the thing. There's a lot of folks who had said, send me the envelope, and for a while there that was going pretty good, but then a lot of folks just didn't send it anymore. I guess, it gets tiresome, and I understand that. I'm hoping that if you're one of those, you'll say, gee, this is really worthwhile. There's going to be a lot of interesting things we're going to learn here, so I'll send it in. All you have to do is call our number, and I'll give it to you at the end of the show and as well as now, and say, just send me the monthly envelope. Now, we also have Bible studies and so forth, and we'll send those to you. And, you don't have to send anything in. I mean, I don't want to put anybody on the spot or anything like that. The telephone number, however, is 609-971-0537. 609-971-0537. And you can keep that till the end of the program. And then if you want the Bible studies or you want some stuff on the tapes that we have, you can get them. Now, all of the book of Revelation is on tape, all right? And if you'd like to catch up that way, I try not to go fast, but we only have a half hour. And you can, it's so difficult to cover much, but there is so much exciting. You're going to find in the book of Revelation how all of these words cover up what is your pituitary gland, your pineal gland, the endocrines of the body, the glandulars of the body. I mean, the whole thing, and it's all about bringing this into an inner harmony so there is peace on earth, meaning that there is peace within you. And when there is peace within you, there will be peace outside of you. When there's peace within you, then there can be peace in your family. There can never be peace in your family. There can never be peace in the universe or on this planet Earth until the mind within is renewed by the higher divine consciousness. Okay? So this is what you're going to find as we study together the book of Revelation. You're going to find nations and personalities playing the parts which relate to your inner body and your astral consciousness. I mean, this entire book of Revelation is about your insides. It has nothing to do, as I said, with God dropping bombs on anybody. That's ridiculous. I don't even know how people could sit in churches or turn on TV and listen to these people say Armageddon's coming, God is going to blow up Russia, or whatever stupid stuff they say. God is love. Love is not capable of blowing up anything. The only thing love is capable of hurting is that which is hurting you. And that's what you're going to find out as we begin to understand this love message of Revelation. And to you out there who resolutely pursue the path of divine consciousness, there will come this mind of immortality and spiritual birth beyond anything you could ever dream. You talk about being born again. I'm not talking about walking an aisle and saying some words that somebody wrote. I mean being born again. I mean a new mind, living, I mean having the right hemisphere, the dormant brain cells of the right hemisphere start to come alive. I mean, that's being born again. The struggles may come against you, as they always have, but your reaction to them will be totally different because your mind will be renewed. That's what Revelation is going to show you. It's a matter of concentrating upon the internal inner self, that which is internal and that which is eternal, and not the external self that is under the rule of change and death. Let's go to Revelation chapter 1, verse 4. I hope you're reading it with me, okay? John, to the 7 churches which are in Asia. Grace be unto you, and peace from him which is, and which was, and which is to come, and from the 7 spirits which are before his throne. Now remember, as you enter into the book of Revelation, it's loaded with numerology. Loaded with numerology. All of these numbers have a meaning. They mean something, okay? The 7 churches, now get with me here, you might want to make notes, are symbols of the 7 spinal centers which are called chakras. C-H-A-K-R-A-S. That's an Eastern Hindu word. They are within you. They start at the base of the spine. They work their way up the spine to that which is the pituitary and the pineal gland. Those are the 7 seals. Those are the 7 churches. Those are the 7 chakras, okay? And they line up exactly in our Christian book of Revelation with that which is the ancient Hindu and the ancient Eastern Sanskrit descriptions of the 7 chakras. So it's very, very important that you begin to understand this. Remember, this is not a Christian book. Okay? The book of Revelation takes from the most ancient. It takes from the ancient Hindu. It takes from that which is the Kabbalah. And it's formulated for an entire understanding of that which is the spirit. See? And what I am telling you is that what was the ancient belief was that as each one of these 7 churches or 7 chakras, the seal is opened. You then elevate your consciousness to a higher realm of understanding with God. In other words, you climb the stairs to the upper room. The 7 chakras are the 7 steps that bring you from the basement, so to speak, to that which is the upper room. The 7 spirits are breaths. And breaths in mysticism in the Bible are always that which is the life spirit. They are the life centers. And those life centers in you are either going to bow to the God within you, which is the Christ consciousness in the upper room, or they're going to bow to the ego, which is the lower carnal mind, or the left hemisphere of the brain. They were originally chosen because visible to the ancient people were the 7 planets that circle the sun. There were only 7 visible to them, and they used those through the inspiration of the Holy Spirit to represent the 7 chakras, the 7 centers, the 7 nerve centers, okay? Let's look at Revelation 1:5 now, okay? And from Jesus Christ, who is the faithful witness, and the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood. Revelation 1:5. Now, Jesus Christ is referred to here as the faithful witness, okay, because he is the Word. Now, that doesn't mean the Bible. The Word does not mean the Bible. It means that which is the life within you in the higher consciousness. It means that which is the God part of you, which functions within you, and when you awaken it, it begins to send down, which are divine messages from the right hemisphere of the brain, instead of that which is the carnal messages and the intellectual messages which come from the carnal or the left side of the brain, okay? His true home is in the realm of life spirit, see? And he witnesses his experience within. And that's what's important for you to understand, because he witnesses this as the life experience within by becoming you, you becoming him. And we'll get into that a little further down the road. Remember, Jesus said he could do nothing, but the Father within him did the work, and the same Father is within you, and the things that he did you can do, and you can do greater things. Understand something, that Jesus referred or called that which is the right hemisphere of the brain, because he sat at the right hand of the Father. The right hemisphere of the brain he called Father. Okay? Father is not a person. Father is that which is within you. In John 14:23, it says that if you chose this pathway, he and the Father would dwell within you. Christ consciousness in the right hemisphere of the brain is Jesus and the Father dwelling within you, making that triumvirate of love and peace. Now, where it says in Revelation 1:5, he's the first begotten of the dead, that means the firstborn, opening up to us, the Gentile, or that which is the non-circumcised, the firstborn from the flesh to the higher domain by the willingness to yield the five senses or total being to God. That is the awakening of the dormant intuition of man to divine intuition. Those five senses, okay, are sight, taste, touch, smell, hearing. Something will get you in trouble. Something will get you into a depression. You may see something. You may hear something. You may taste something. You may smell something. You may say something. Whatever. Those five senses, if they are under the control of the carnal mind, then you're in hell. When they come under the control of the divine mind, you're in heaven. That was the creation of Lucifer. Lucifer means bright star. There was no man named Lucifer. He was not a person per se. The Bible gives him the name of Lucifer because it means bright star, and the bright star has 5 points, the symbol of that star. And the 5 points represent sight, taste, touch, smell, hearing, the 5 senses. When they are under the control of the higher nature, that's Lucifer, that is divine. When they are under the control of the ego or the flesh, then that is Satan, that is carnal. Okay? So therefore, when Lucifer, allegorically in the Bible, yielded the 5 senses from God to the higher mind to the lower mind, he became Satan. Okay? Now, if you remember, it's the same story that we see in the book of David and Goliath. When David went against the beast, which was Goliath, what happened? The entire armies of Israel couldn't touch Goliath. That means all of religion couldn't move. They couldn't touch the beast. They just stood there. What could they do? A child comes. No religious background, no affiliation with any religion. And we know this because when the child David came, Saul said, "Here, you've got to put on my armor." And David tried it on. He said, "I can't move in this stuff." In other words, I can't be this religion or that religion or this religion or that religion because it's hindering me. I can't be free. I can't be free to understand. I can't be free to mix into the things of the world. I can't be free to embrace that which is all mankind. He said, "I can't do this. I got to take your armor off. I can't follow your rules or regulations." And when he did, then David scooped up 5 smooth stones. They represent sight, taste, touch, smell, hearing. He had to take all 5. If he had only taken 4, he could have left taste, and it could have been something he drank, something he ate. It could have been alcohol, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? And when he took that one stone with the builders rejected, that's that one stone, that's the pineal. Bang, he hit the beast where? In the forehead. The sign of the intellect. Oh, brother. And then Jesus took the 5 wounds, and he who was Jesus became the Christ, and that is submitting the 5 senses to what? To that which is the divine crucifixion. You're going to be back with me in a couple weeks when we continue Revelation.